Wardrobe Malfunction by Colin Granger. Like so many players before me, my cricketing career is defined by one unforgettable summer afternoon. Mine was not to be a century for the ages, nor a series-defining bowling spell, or even a flying catch. There seemingly was nothing unusual about this particular game, our usual old boys playing against a similar ragtag set of players, with a mix of those approaching pensionable years, a couple of keen teenagers, and a couple who maybe should avoid second helpings at tea. I arrived to realise I had not packed my trousers. Bugger. After the obligatory teasing, one of my teammates offered up an old spare pair that had been left festering in his kit bag for a couple of years. Never mind, they were whitish, so on they went. The issue was that they were around 4 sizes too big. They'd also lost the string that may have helped disguise their oversized fitting. I rolled the elastic waist, tightening it into a knot of sorts, which worked well. We batted first, and all was good, the thigh pads holding everything in place while I made an unmemorable single-figure score. It was in the field where things began to quite literally unravel. The knot holding my trousers to my waist turned out to be somewhat fragile when I moved with any vigour. For the first 10 or 15 overs, I managed to disguise it as the ball came towards me, making regulation stops and the odd dive that didn't require me to move too far from my position at gully. My confidence in the voluminous trousers was set to be tested when I was moved to the covers, and almost immediately the batter fired the ball agonisingly past me. It didn't quite catch it properly, so I was required to chase after it to prevent it reaching the boundary. Almost immediately I realised I was in trouble. The knot in my trousers instantly proved to be useless and came loose, and I could no longer feel a significant amount of waistband on my waist. I had to multitask. Sprint towards the rolling ball whilst repeatedly and wildly hoisting up the trousers every 2 paces as I did so. I expect I looked like I had a rather unorthodox running style, but needs must, and I just went with it. Everything appeared to be working out, but the moment came when I was approaching the slow ball just before the boundary. I couldn't effectively make the last few yards while having one hand on my trousers. So instinctively I let go in order to prepare for my dive at the ball. There was a definite moment in time when I realised this had been a mistake. Without the repeated hoisting I'd undertaken, my trousers were almost immediately taken over by the laws of gravity and began their inexorable decline down my legs. I reached to grab them again, but this time it was too late. They had fallen below my grasp. All that was left was to make the heroic stop, prevent 4 runs, and I could salvage some pride. Sadly, the trousers had by now almost entirely gathered around my cricket boots, rendering the last 2 yards of sprinting impossible. They tangled around my feet and tackled me to the ground in what can be described as an invisible, undignified, and rather unusual rugby tackle. Inevitably, I was left reaching for thin air, outstretched on the ground, underpants visible to the world as the ball touched the rope. By now, what felt like the entire park was staring and pointing at me in hysterics. When order was eventually restored, someone fetched me a belt to secure my waistband for further instant. For some years, and until I gracefully retired, I was ironically cheered by my team. Every time I fielded even the most simple shot in my direction. I always wanted to leave my mark on the sport that I love with that one unforgettable moment. It's just not how I imagined it. That is absolutely golden.
That's a quality story.
I think that, the fact that it crosses the boundary is what makes it so completely beautiful.
And I think it's because we both know, the feeling where your pants are on your ankles and you can't, you just have to just fall down. It's like the inevitable trip.
I don't think I've... No.
You've never tripped over your pants?
Never lowered my pants.